I do a lot of shady stuff. One of the shady stuff I do is I actually try to find out क्या scam चल रहा है दुनिया में. So when you get a tipster call from Indore saying कि आप stock market में काम करते हो, you probably say and keep the phone down, right? I don't.
Okay.
I actually asked him, हाँ बताओ यार क्या चल रहा है?
What is option trading? First, of course, is options actually the way through which someone can make money in India?
21 दिन में पैसा double kind of schemes are best implemented through options if you really can catch like a big move. Look at India, right? There are so many scams happening at the same time. Like imagine if there are 10,000 scams happening in India and in SEBI the market surveillance department has maybe like 30-40 people working. यार किस को पकड़ेंगे यार? Like a law enforcement officer in India, you have to really sympathize with this person because if you know that person is actually an honest officer. The things that he has to fight for justice is crazy.
Since we're talking about these so-called influencers and all these folks, is there any scenario where anyone in the sane mind should sign up for a course which is peddled by these folks? Do you want to become a multi-millionaire? Do you want to retire before you're 40? Do you want to take international trips, lead a very lavish lifestyle? If you want to do all of that, or just meet your basic financial goals, you need to make sure you don't lose your money to dubious scams. But how do you make sure you don't do that? Well, to figure out how scams in stock markets and public markets look like, we have with us Abid Hassan. This is the second part of the FinShort's Money Playbook, where we talk to Abid and understand the scams that take place in the Indian markets and how to make sure you don't fall for them. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Let's dive into the questions. What is front running and how to identify it? What are some patterns that you see to identify it so that you make sure that you don't fall for it?
Front running is a creative exercise used by many banks to increase their profits.
Okay.
We all know that it happens. Everyone knows that it happens. It's crazy. There are so many known cases of all these Wall Street investment banks caught in the case of front running. So front running is very simple. Let's say you have a client, right, and they are going to buy 100,000 shares of Papu Motors,
Okay.
right? Now, Papu Motors is not a very liquid stock. So, if you buy 100,000 stocks, the price will go up, right? Now, front running में होता ये है कि I know कि Papu Motors का price will go up by 20 rupees in the next 20 minutes because there's a very big order coming, right? Some 1 lakh shares or 2 lakh shares or whatever. So, basically the stock price is going to appreciate by 2-3%. So, what I'll do is I'll first go and take some trades in that, right? And then उसके बाद I'll take my client's trade. So what will happen is Papu Motors is trading at 20 rupees. I buy my stuff, maybe like I take a small position at 20 rupees, which doesn't move the market much.
Okay.
Then my client ka orders come and then the stock goes up 2-3%. Then I sell it at 2-3%. I almost got free money, right?
Got it.
So technically, you are making your client's entry a little worse, right? Very marginally. But you're not really hurting that person. But is it something illegal? Absolutely yes. Is it something unethical? Heck yes. Because if I were to tell a client कि bro देखो मैं आपका order करूँगा लेकिन उससे पहले मैं थोड़ा अपना चला लूँगा, client will be like boss यही क्या है? तो मैं तुम्हें execution के पैसे दे रहा हूँ, you want to screw me also on the side. But yeah, this is essentially front running.
And have you seen examples of that happening in our markets?
I've seen a lot of, I think there are even documented cases of front running being caught, right, and people being fined.
Okay.
So you don't have to go with what I have seen or what is my anecdote or hearsay.
Okay.
You can look at the news archives for the last 15 years and see globally how many times have we had an instance where somebody front ran their client and was caught.
I mean, every time any money manager can do it, right? Like this.
Can do it.
So in the same series, I'll just ask you the scam and you can tell me what are some patterns about it. Insider trading.
So how do I put it? Let's say I am running something called Chaman Bank,
Okay.
right? And I know Chaman Bank has made like a lot of Chaman loans last year and they are all going to get defaulted, right? Now, technically, I know कि, you know, we are in a bad NPA state. Basically, we are going to make a loss because I have loan defaults. I know it because maybe I'm a head of lending department, or I'm the CFO of the bank, or the CEO of bank, or something. So, and 2 days later, I'm going to declare the results. So now the thing is, or I made some derivative trades in the bank's book and they are all in losses or something. None of this is public info, right? Because till it is released in public and till it comes out, or till it is reported to an exchange or filed as part of an annual earning statement or something, nobody knows. So what I'll do is, कि अरे क्या बात है, we had a lot of NPS, which means stock price is going to be down the moment it comes out in the public. So what I'll do is I'll sell my stocks before, or I'll buy some put options on my own bank stocks. But of course this is fraud, right? Because stock market, at least theoretically, in paper, is a level playing field. Nobody should have access to, which is why regulators, government, everybody exists, so that ultimately, like, there is a lot of way in which insider info leaks out, but in theory it should not, because everybody should have the same access. But basically इसमें क्या होगा, I'll buy some sell my stock, or I'll buy some puts just before the results are released, etc. And then the results are released, bank goes down, and then I make some money. The other version of that is, of course, my demat account, which is in my name, is always under scrutiny because I'm a bank CEO. So when I used to work in a bank, there were some people, there's a long list of employees who have access to too much privileged information. These people could not take a position in the bank's stock or a derivative X days before the earning. All of us have to submit our demat account details to the bank. So I can't really take, because it will show up, right? But what I'll do is, I'll have this my brother-in-law or my next door neighbor, uncle, I'll tell them, hey, you know what, I'll tell you some nice tip, but 50-50, yeah?
Okay.
So cash. So I'll do that. So insider trading can happen a lot. Like, see, think about it this way, right? All these, so in case of banks, etc., it's very difficult, right? Because too much compliance is happening. Like RBI monitors a bank, SEBI monitors a bank, exchanges monitor. There are sophisticated systems implemented by exchanges which can now catch insider trading, blah blah blah. But the problem is that there are so many smaller companies, right? There are SMEs, there are mid-cap companies. Nobody even know what they do, right? Like, nobody even knows if the sales they are reporting is right or wrong. So insider info ये भी हो सकता है कि I'm going to inflate my sales tomorrow, and I know the stock will have to react. So I'll tell some friends of mine कि boss तुम लोग सब ले लो, right? So all of this is possible, and basically in a very nutshell, what is happening is that I am the promoter of a company, or the CEO of a company, or an employee in the company, or somebody who has access to information. It's my duty to my shareholders that I don't leak this info to others to exploit. But basically, I am leaking it to others for my own benefit because they'll give me some cut.
Okay.
So this is insider trading, and
it happens.
There are so many cases in the last 15 years where it has happened and people have been caught. SEBI, so just go to SEBI website and search for insider trading. So there's a section in SEBI called orders. That is, SEBI investigates somebody and finds somebody guilty and issues an order for settlement. So if you just search for insider trading, SEBI in their releases section, you'll see so many people who have been fined for insider trading. So it's very common.
Okay.
And I don't think even 5% of what actually happens is getting reported.
Oh.
Because it's very difficult to catch it. Somebody has to really go after this.
So would you say like our regulatory arm is underfunded? Like there aren't enough people tracking it?
I think every regulator everywhere in the world is underfunded. And it's a constant fight, right? See, the thing is, I have a lot of friends in regulators across the world, not just SEBI. And I understand their problem, right? Because they are fighting insurmountable odds. First of all, I don't think they have proper funding. I don't know how many of them are well staffed. I don't know if they have enough people to investigate, because look at India, right? There are so many scams happening at the same time. So in Telegram, so it's very easy for me to sit here and say, ki boss, there are so many scammy Telegram channels, why is SEBI not catching them? Dude, I don't know how many, and like, I'm like, at one point I was full time into catching scam during that verified by sensible and all happening, right? And I ran out of number of and I'm like, boss, nobody can catch them. There are so many people, right? There are so many education scams. There are tips scams. There is insider scam. There is illegal like PMS. So for example, I'll collect money, pool it into an option trading fund, and that's illegal. There are so many types of scams. Like, imagine if there are 10,000 scams happening in India, And in SEBI, the markets surveillance department has maybe like 30-40 people working. यार किस को पकड़ेंगे यार? And to catch somebody, you can't go by hearsay, right? You have to have a very, very concrete set of proofs. कि boss, and now let's also face it, right? In a country like ours, some of these scamsters are connected. Some of these people have backing. Like if some extremely honest officer in some department, any department, makes a case against this, next day he might get a call saying कि boss देखो मेरे scammer को कोई नहीं छामा. You get that, right?
Got it.
So it's like a law enforcement officer in India. You have to really, really sympathize with this person, because if you know that person is actually an honest officer,
Okay.
the things that he has to fight for justice is crazy.
Coming back to these scams, what is pump and dump?
Pump and dump is very simple. So let's say you're a promoter, right, and you want to offload some stocks.
Okay.
So basically you call a network of people who are essentially stock operators or but basically they are sophisticated scammers. They are not like your average Telegram tipster,
Okay.
right? But basically what you do is you suddenly generate interest in the stock, right? You basically ask a few operators to slightly rush up the stock in the first few days. Now suddenly everybody is like, yaar ye stock kyun upar ja raha hai? So then there's some talk. Then you probably contact some YouTubers, Telegram tipsters, scammers, everybody to tell them ki oh dekho, I have found a great stock, ye wo blah blah blah. Then again that stock goes up. Then again operators come up. Then again you get some tipsters to say ki please ask everybody to buy this stock. Right? You probably ask some. Basically you get all the nefarious agents you have access to in the system to collude with you to drive up the price of the stock so that people are interested, and then you plant some news. Basically, you with your friends start driving the stock price to the point that retail investors like, oh my god, I missed it, I have to get in some action.
Okay.
See, that's the thing, right? Retail investors don't typically jump in because something is fairly valued.
Okay.
Almost always they jump in because of fear of missing out on something which is hot. So at the peak, a lot of people get interested and they're like, oh my god, I have to go get in on the action. And then they get in, and then suddenly at that price, this guy sells all his stock. Because now there are a lot of interested buyers. See, earlier when the stock was trading at 20, nobody was buying, nobody was selling. But now the stock is at 100 and there are thousands of people who are lining up to buy the stock. So the promoter sells it to everyone nicely and exists. This is a typical, it need not be promoter, it could also be somebody who holds significant part of the stock. This is pump and dump.
Okay, so and this happens mostly in SMEs and mid caps.
Logically, that should be correct.
It happens in India
Yeah.
also. Okay, we'll go to the next part. I'm because you run a options startup, you help people, empower people to trade options.
Okay.
So I want to understand, is it even, what is option trading first, of course, and then is options actually the way through which someone can make money in India?
I never understood the use case of money. आप किसको बोलना चाहते
Money is like money where you do anything and there's no consequences beyond that. Like that's money.
So see, the thing is this, right? Again, like we discussed earlier, even if you're option trading, some of the best option traders in the world make probably 30-40% money.
But what is option trading? First that.
Options are derivatives.
Okay.
So basically the allure of options is simple. If you want to make 30% return from ICICI Bank, you have to, or SBI Bank or HDFC or Tata Motors or some stock, right? If you want to make 3 lakh from that, and if let's say the stock goes up 10%, right? And if you have 3 lakhs with you, you put everything in stock and you will make 10%, right? You will make 30,000 rupees. But options are leveraged instrument, which means that you can participate by giving a small amount of money.
Okay.
So in a 10% move in a bank, your 3 lakh can become 6 lakhs or 9 lakh or 10 lakh.
Okay.
So basically, 21 din mein paisa double kind of schemes are best implemented through options if you really can catch like a big move. So in equity, a 10% move results in 10% profit. In options, a 10% move can reflect as 100% or 200% or 5 times the money or something.
Okay.
So basically, the allure of option trading is you can multiply your money a lot, at least on paper, which is why so many people. In other words, it's like a lottery. Gaya to 10,000, aaye to 1 lakh. So essentially, without getting into what is option trading, this is the answer to why is there option trading,
All right.
which is why a lot of retailers interested in option trading now, because everyone thinks I can
Yeah.
get
I can
rich
limit
quickly.
my losses but make a lot of money.
Get rich quickly.
So is that true? Can you actually get rich quickly with options?
The problem is, yes, there are incidents like this
Okay.
where somebody made their money 10 times. But for every one incident like that, there are 1,000 or let's put it this way, right? You know lottery. I use the word lottery for option trading explicitly. What is the principle of lottery? For each person who wins that 1 million jackpot, everybody else get thenga. They lose that 5 rupee, right? So, uh, if you're asking me, do people get rich through option trading? They have one or two incidents where they make a lot of money through option trading. But in all other incidents, they also lose money. So net, do I know somebody who became an option trading millionaire? See, now this is the problem. So Sensible practically has like 20-30% of India's serious trading option traders insensible, right? It's highly unlikely that somebody got ridiculously rich through option trading and we did not know, right? If you ask me to name 10 people who got your FU money, right? And I would define that FU money would involve, let's say, buying like a Mercedes or a villa or some shit, right? I don't know too many people who have done that.
Okay.
I know people who have done that, but they were rich to begin with.
Oh.
So like I have my brother has a friend. Bro actually bought like a BMW last year from option selling, right? But the catch is this, right? He has 2 crores of capital and he is doing systematic option selling, which is not a getting rich game. It is like a yield enhancement game. He's increasing the return of the portfolio. Not like he's not somebody who came in with 5 lakh and bought a BMW, right? He has 2 crores already. He sold systematically, made some 50-60L and bought an X1. This, yes, happens, right?
Okay.
But again, that's nothing surprising, right? Rich people keep making money. They'll either do it through stocks or through FD or through something. You don't need option trading for that. The allure of option trading is poor people or people who are not well off or people who are rags to riches story. I don't hear rag to riches story. I know a lot of midlife uncles with like 2 crore to 10 crore kind of money to trade, them making like 50 lakh, 60 lakh every year through option trading. So to answer your question, people make money, but not the people who you think
are
making money.
So there are very less these rags to riches stories through options.
I don't know. Like, see, the thing is this, right? So there's a very popular person in India who everyone say made money through option trading, right? And I know the stats of that. That person's option trading P&L was X, right? But the revenue from his YouTube, Telegram, broker का commission payout etc. was 20x.
Oh.
यार तो मतलब तुम option trading से अमीर नहीं बने हो ना? Like I like so like how do I put it? Like if my option trading P&L is 30 lakhs and I have a Ferrari, I can't say, dude, you can't buy Ferrari with 30 lakhs option P&L. You can't buy Ferrari even with a 2 crore option P&L, because even if you made 2 crore P&L, you will pay like 40% tax, you're left with 1.2 crore. और कोई आदमी इतना पागल नहीं है कि तुम्हारा साल का इनकम 1.2 crore है and you buy a new Ferrari for like 3-4 crores, right? 3-4 साल कौन उड़ाता है यार? Like personally, if you ever ask me, will you ever buy a Ferrari? My answer is no.
Okay.
But even hypothetically, if I have to say yes, I know I need at least some 100 crores to even think about it. But even then, I'm disrespecting money here. I can't spend like 2% of my net worth on like a bloody car, which I can't even enjoy in a country like ours. Have you seen the speed breaker on the way in front of IIM Bangalore?
Yeah.
If I had a Ferrari, I'm not reaching your studio here. So, but so people are like, see, this is the problem, right? This option trading, wealth show off, this everything, that is actually happening through something else. So everybody who you are seeing on the internet, who's probably running a YouTube or a Telegram or like a something, they haven't made money through their trading. Reality is they've either made money through selling a course or by broker referral opening accounts, or because they are running some side gig, right? So yeah, I mean, no rags to riches.
Okay, so since we're talking about these so-called influencers and all these folks, is there any scenario where anyone in the sane mind should sign up for a course which is peddled by these folks? I think your silence answers
I'm
it.
really thinking through a scenario.
Yeah.
See, the thing is this, right? Like, basically, why would you want to sign up? Well, or let me give you an example which happened to this friend of mine, right? So, a smart guy. We used to work out of his office. So, basically, he had rented his office to Sensible in our early days, long back. And he was saying ki, bro, I found like a option trading course. I'm going to join. I'm like, I asked him, why are you joining? Right? He's like, ki, this guy knows trading really, really well. And I think if I learn from him, he'll make money. I'll make money. So I asked him, how much money has he made? How do you know he's a good trader? He drives like a BMW 7 Series and a Mercedes S. I'm like, okay. So how much is the course at? He's like, online course, 3 months, 80,000 rupees. And I'm like, how much is roughly the price of a 7 series? So he's like, itna. So I'm like, कि तो तुम्हारे types 200 people enroll. He has that, and then suddenly he looks at me like the guy who invented fire or something.
Okay.
He's like, oh my god, that is true. I'm like, dude, like you're like a smart guy. Are you like going to go join a course like this? So again, the course selling, like I told you before, right? Yeah, the thing is this, right? India mein people are really, really desperate for money. We don't have too many great jobs. We have jobs, but let's face it, right? Come on. Yeah, it is borderline crazy that somebody completes engineering and we get an opening role in one of the IT companies which pays around 3.5 lakh LPA in a city like Bangalore, and then you are being asked to work 90 hours. People really, really need money. It is super expensive to live in India compared to somebody's income.
Got it.
So naturally, people will think ki. So, or let me put it this way, right? Do you believe in homeopathy?
No.
No. But tomorrow, God forbid, you got a terminal illness, you might just try it out.
Okay.
Because you're that desperate. You get the meta, right?
I got
You
it.
have tried everything you could. Now what do you have to lose? Right? Because life to वैसे भी, so any prospect of any glimmer of hope to become rich, you will take up. So the co-selling ka meta is very simple. You basically show like very nice life and like Ferrari, etc. You have a mansion behind you. You show some people ka testimony ki dude, these people made money, right? And then you tell them ki boss तुम्हारा भी life में कुछ होगा, etc. And then they actually, this is the co-selling meta, right?
Yeah.
Or let me put it in a very interesting way. Will you go enroll for courses if you had enough negative stories from people who enrolled for courses saying that you're fraud hai?
Of course not.
You won't, right?
Yeah.
So then I have a question. Why do you not have such people coming out and saying कि यार ये fraud है, मैंने enroll किया, I lost money and I did not benefit from this course. Why is it not happening?
I think there's this shame attached to it, no? That.
Exactly. So think about it this way, right? Imagine somebody who's on Tinder and he bought Tinder Premium.
Yeah.
Will he go out and say in Tinder ka social media, hey Tinder boys, I bought your premium, I got no matches, bro. People will be happy.
There's a problem with you, maybe.
He's such an idiot, right? So it's like that, right? If you go and say in public ki boss, I bought a stock market course, I still did not make money, people will be like, tum idiot ho isliye. So the fact that these people will never out is also part of the reason why these fraudsters thrive. Right? There is nothing which a course seller has to teach you to make money. Because the other thing is this, right? I have roughly 100k followers on Twitter. I once put out a tweet saying ki boss, if you have ever made money following a famous course seller and if you have gotten a good financial outcome, please comment on this thread and we will showcase you. We will interview you, we'll showcase you, we'll make you famous.
Okay.
Nobody.
Okay.
Right? And see, the thing is, it's impossible that somebody who trades does not know about our thing, right? I said कि तुमने अगर किसी famous बंदे के पास जाके कोर्स सीख के तुमने पैसा बनाया, तुम हमारे पास आ जाओ, we'll give you money, we'll make you famous, we'll give you award and all. Nobody responded. So I'm convinced कि
And what about experts who come on television? Like
no, but let me ask you a reverse question. Why do you think they are experts?
Because they've been given this platform, right? Like where
No,
you
but
assume.
why do you think that they are experts?
Because I'm attaching prestige to the platform.
No, reverse question.
Okay.
So is Jim Simmons a great trader?
Yes.
Why?
Because of the returns, okay. I
And
get it. Because yeah, he has consistently given good returns.
Warren Buffett,
Same.
Charlie Munger,
Consistently good returns.
Peter Lynch,
Consistent good returns.
and also educated, also
Yeah.
probably went to Wharton,
Yeah.
etc., etc. Knows stock markets, holds an economics degree, understands HFT, is deeply studied in computer science, etc., etc. Right? Now, why do you think a TV anchor is an expert in stock market?
Not an anchor, but the expert they'll call.
Like what?
So, do you want me to take names?
No, so I have a question, right? Do you find like really fund managers of India, real stood-up people who have given performance across? Do you find those types of people in TV coming and giving expert opinion, or somebody who is in the research team of some random second-tier broker?
Yeah, them only.
So then why?
So guys don't listen to TV people also, I guess.
No, I'm not. I didn't say that. Your words.
Yeah, I assumed this based on whatever Abid told me. So this is what I've concluded from his
There was a
mother.
recent SEBI order against somebody who came on TV who was penalized for pump and dump, I think. Like 2 months back, SEBI had an order.
No, I'm saying like an anchor, not even an expert.
Yeah.
Some anchor used to come, he used to talk, I'm forgetting his name. He used to say this stock. He used to simultaneously buying the same stock from his mother-in-law's account.
Yeah. Like, see, my fund is very simple. I really believe, right, that some research teams of brokers are frauds.
Okay.
And I also think so because I've caught them doing fraud.
Okay.
We had a platform once in Sensible where third parties could come and give research calls, right? And we had onboarded one of India's relatively famous stockbrokers ka research teams in relatively famously proper famous stockbroker ka research team in our expert advice section, right? And this guy used to come and give research tips, right? Now the problem is this: he'll say something like, buy TCS at 1100, target 1200.
Okay.
Right? He'll put that thing.
Okay.
Now the thing is, when he's saying buy TCS at 1100, the stock is actually trading at something like 1190, right? And the target is 1200. So we will start tracking from the time he issued.
Yeah.
So our idea was we'll track everyone's advice and tell you who's actually doing well. So, and then the problem is, you will never find TCS at 1100 on that day. The best price, the lowest price you will find is probably 1180, and obviously there will be a 1200 ka targeted, and he'll say target hit, and whereas ours inside that particular broker's system, they'll say our research calls today was this, target hit, successful this thing, profit made 100 rupees. And I actually told him, bro, ये कैसे हो सकता है, आज stock ये price पे आया ही नहीं है, right? But they'll still, so they'll have reports, this week successful calls, something, and they'll also say we'll buy Nifty XYZ call today at 100 rupees, target 200 rupees, and I'll look at the entire day's chart, 100 never came. Okay. And Bhai Sahab is saying ki 100 pe mera trade hua, and then I'm like, so see, people systematically fudge their performance, fudge their returns. So again, if a hospital can lie to you that you need angioplasty when you don't actually need angioplasty, are you expecting somebody who is inside a broker's research team to correctly tell you the performance of his research calls?
Got it. Moving to the next question. So like SEBI is also, taking some steps trying to make algo trading more accessible to, retail investors.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Like, can I actually make money from algo trading?
Yeah, see, the thing is this, okay. So I do a lot of shady stuff.
Okay.
Right? One of the shady stuff I do is I actually try to find out कि क्या scam चल रहा है दुनिया में. So when you get a tipster call from Indore saying कि आप stock market में काम करते हो, you probably say fuck off and keep the phone down, right? I don't.
Okay.
I actually asked him, हाँ बताओ यार क्या चल रहा है, right? And then he explains to me what all he will do, ये वो. So I'm very interested in knowing scams. So I spend time with these scamsters figuring out. So in 2021 or 20 or 21, I don't remember when, I had this fake profile, right?
Okay.
I think my name was Rochak Agarwal or Saurav Agarwal or something was my name, right? So I used to say I'm Saurav Agarwal, and I had a email account also, right? And I used to be we were some sub broker based out of Jaipur.
Okay.
And
your alias was that
and I had a Saurav Agarwal, and Sagar Chainani was my colleague in Sensible. Sagar's name was something Arora.
Okay.
So Saurav Agarwal and something Arora were stockbrokers ka sub brokers from Jaipur, and we wanted help in increasing client engagement. तो एक बार क्या हुआ, there was like a very popular algo trading platform. ठीक है. Now, so I called this guy saying, "See, sir, we are from this sub broker. We are looking to tie up with your platform. Please tell us what is the benefit of आपका platform for our clients." Right. So this guy says, "कि देखो, this is algo, so this will have enough. A lot of orders will be generated." So he asked me, "How much are you charging?" I said 15 rupees per 10 rupees or something per trade. आपके हर क्लाइंट के अकाउंट से हम हर दिन 20-30 ट्रेड तो पक्का डलवा देंगे.
Okay.
So I'm like, boss, that's like 600 rupees or something cost every day in broking charges alone, right? Never mind STT, GST, ये वो, etc., right? He's like, yeah. So 600 rupees every day he's giving me in brokerage and his charges are so much. तो महीने का उसका कितना उड़ा, समथिंग लाइक 12,000 13,000 रुपी. ही लाइक, या करेक्ट एंड चार्जेस मिला के और भी ज़्यादा. तो आई एम लाइक कि वो फिर कैसे पैसा बनेगा क्लाइंट. एंड देन ही डजंट हैव अ रिप्लाई. ही इज लाइक आस्किंग, ही इज लाइक कि डूड ये कहाँ से आया क्लाइंट.
Why are you thinking of your client?
He actually literally I can hear him giving a blank stare to his colleague on the other end of the phone. Although I can't see him, I'm like, he probably he's like looking at his colleague, कौन है यार?
Client का पैसा बनवाना चाह रहा है.
And that's it, right? So the problem with algo trading, which it is practiced in India, as I know, right? And I know, like it's see, ultimately, all algo providers have a very unholy incentive. Ki if you are an algo provider and you are only taking money from client for the returns you generate, it's okay. But if you are an algo provider and you are, so India's most common algo scam is this, right? You'll have a link and you will say ki open broking account through my link, and then you will give the link to the client. Client will take up that, and then basically every time client does a trade, you get some money also, right? So now as an algo provider, my incentive is not to make money for the client. My incentive is to make clients trade as much as possible so that I get broker commissions, right? So is an algo provider acting in the best interest of the client in that case? No, he's just trying to make the client trade more and more. And like अपना old CEO told me कि यार एक गया तो क्या हुआ, 100 और मिल जाएंगे. So in India, most of the algo which happens, at least till last year when I was actually following what was happening in the space, used to be this, right? And I have an other bigger problem. Yes, there might be some algos which will make money, right? But realistically, if there is an algo which makes phenomenal money and enough people deploy in the same algo, then it will not make that the returns will reduce because so many people.
The edge, you won't have that.
The edge won't happen.
Yeah.
The problem is, I don't know how many people have that kind of edge which can be happened at scale. And if there's a hedge which can be replicated at scale, why does anyone think that Goldman, Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, Tower, Renaissance, Graviton, all of these boys who have nothing else to do missed that edge and somehow aapko mil gaya, right? So is it a good idea for a retail to enter algo? Probably yes, because if they do it discretionary, they'll lose a lot more money. But again, through algo trading, are you going to print money and become your 15 lakhs, say 1 crore kind? Not happening.
Okay.
Maximum, I think an algo might return 30-40% a year, the best of algos. But the problem is they are not accessible to you, and there's a bigger problem. Most of the algo trading companies which are trading algos use what is called a co-located server, which sits in the exchange ka thing, and they do high frequency trading over copper wires with very little latency in the order of microseconds or something, and that's how they exploit trading, right? If you are sitting in Bangalore connected over an HTTPS through a broker ka API that has 50 calls or something ka throttle, you are not going to compete with Graviton, which is doing like 1,000 trades in a second here. So if you think you have a fast algo running which can beat the guys who are doing this algo game at their own game, then you are delusional. But if you are thinking ki there is some system trading thing which does maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or something trades a day and that can make some 12%, 13% post tax, then maybe there is something there. But again, like I said, right, I don't know if the guys who are giving algo providers, so-called quote unquote, are they doing it to make money from the clients by giving them 12-13% return? I don't think so. They are probably doing it because they have that broker thing going.
So you told us initially that we actually have to make sure that our wealth does not deplete, like our money doesn't lose value. And you've also told us about so many wrong things happening in the markets. So where do I even put my money? Because I don't want it to lose its value over the long run.
See, you have to, in the sense that we have to understand that we never know what will happen next in the world.
Yeah.
You have to have enough in every bucket to make sure that we don't completely get screwed over.
Okay.
So if I were you, my question is, what is it that I cannot afford to lose at all, right? Once I know the answer to that, then I will build my diversification portfolio around that. So if there's something absolutely I can't lose, then I'll put it in something extremely stable, like let's say a State Bank of India FD or government security or something, right? But that can't be too much of my wealth, because ultimately bonds underperform inflation, right? Like there's no world in which bonds make more money than inflation. So things which I can't afford to lose, or which I have to put something like my wedding expense or education expense or something, put it in FD for 2-3 years, whatever it is, emergency fund, whatever you call it. The remaining, you have to think of a mixture between equity, real estate, and probably gold. Yes, some people put money in crypto. I am not a fan. So if I were you, I would have some real estate, because ultimately land is land, real land. I'll have some gold, because for the last 3,000, 4,000 years, humans have only been killing each other over gold. And of course, I'll have equity. But even in equity, I would not really bother picking up some random mid cap, small cap bets for multi-bagger. What I'll do is, because see, the thing is this again, right, कि तुम अपना पूरा पैसा तो मल्टीबैगर में नहीं डालोगे, तुम शायद 1%, 2%, 5% डालोगे मल्टीबैगर में. Even if that multi-bagger returns like some 100%, if you only put 1% of your wealth in that, that portfolio overall yield goes up only by some 1% or something, even in a 100% scenario. So basically, now that I understand ki, I really can't fill my portfolio with multi-bagger, I'll probably do large cap, small cap, mid cap. Depending on my age. If I'm very young, I'll have a skew towards mid cap, small cap. If I'm relatively older, I'll have a bias towards large cap. So my answer is, I'll make sure that, see, ultimately a diversified portfolio can't get completely screwed. A portfolio which is heavily leaning on one thing can get completely screwed. I won't put 100% in, let's say, some small finance bank or something. I won't put 100% in equity either. I can't put 100% in gold, because there have been incidents in world when gold has dipped 30% twice. In fact, once in 2008 and once in 2011 to 2015, gold actually dipped in value by half in US, not in India because our currency depreciated at that time. But 2011, gold was trading at around $2,000, and by 15 it was trading at $1,000. So everything gets shocked once in a while. The only thing you know is that a diversified portfolio may everything cannot be shocked together.
Got it.
Right? So I'll basically try to mix my money in gold plus FD plus equity plus real estate. That's the only answer. Because, and the answer to that is this, right? I know the answer to this because I don't know the answer to what will happen to the world. And as long as you don't know what will happen, you have no choice but to make sure that you have something in every bucket.
Got it. One last question. Would you subscribe to the notion that you need some diversification, geographical diversification?
Yes, absolutely yes.
US markets?
Yes, but here's a catch. See, everything makes sense if the quantum is substantial, right? So if you are going to buy one stock of 100 bagger, यार क्या ही करोगे, मतलब there's no point in that, right?
Got it.
So if you're thinking of diversification and you put $1,000 worth of money in US total, then probably it's not worth it for two reasons. One is, see, if you put $1,000 in US markets, and even if it makes 15% return, you only made $150. Right? $150 is what, like roughly 14,000 rupees. US markets mein invest karna is not very simple. It involves FEMA, and you have to do tax reporting, everything very correctly. and if you do something wrong, you might get a FEMA notice, which is a very crazy law to violate in India. I think the penalty on FEMA can be as high as 3 times what you have invested.
Okay.
So, do I want to geographically diversify into a US market for when I am 25 and I have $100 extra? It's probably not worth it. Put everything, like, see, if you have too many things going on, your mind is split between so many things, there's no focus, right?
Okay.
If I am 25 and if I'm starting to invest, I'll just have one hybrid fund and that's it. I'll forget everything else.
Okay.
Or I'll just put some money in FD, I'll have some gold, and I'll put one multi-cap, flexi-cap, some fund, and I'll just forget it, right? Or maybe I'll put it in one small cap, mid cap, something, and I'll forget it. I won't do, oh, thoda, I'll do real estate, oh, let me do this, let me do that. Yeah, it takes my time and bandwidth, right? Ultimately, I'm optimizing my life and I need as much time as I can free up so that I can focus it on my work, my family, etc. ये हमेशा if I keep on looking US market, China market, ये सब यार मैं जीऊँगा कब? So if you are, let's say, 40 or 30 and if you have like a portfolio of 10 crore, should you put 1 crore through LRS in US? Maybe yes. If you are 25 and you have a portfolio of 5 lakh, should you invest in it? Maybe not, because it's not worth the time and effort.
Got it. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope folks have learned how to, make sure their money does not lose its value and they don't also lose money to scams. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us all these advice, tidbits and anecdotes.
Very, very happy to do this.
Thank you so much.
सब कुछ edit कर दो.
Yeah, okay.